So now we have a script that we can use to place a tree on the first vertex of the selected object. Well, this is not what we originally planned. Our original plan for the script was to have a tree placed on every single vertex of the selected object. Now this plane that we were playing with as a test object, well, it had 25 vertices. So the easiest solution would be to have these three lines creating the tree for the first vertex be repeated 25 times for each of those vertices, and it would look something like this. So we have the three lines for the first vertex, then have it for the second vertex, then we have it for the third vertex, and for the fourth, and all the way up to the 25th. Note that the only thing changing in these three lines is the index number of the vertex that we are getting the position of with the getVert function. So this would probably work for our plane object, but it wouldn't really be a good solution, since it would only work on objects that have exactly 25 vertices. If an object had less vertices, it would probably fail when it reaches a line which is creating a tree for a vertex that's not there in our object, or the script would not create enough trees if we had an object with more than 25 vertices. Also, it would create a huge script with seemingly redundant identical lines of code copy-pasted for pages. As is so with function definitions, reusing code that's needed repetitively is quite common in programming. So basically, what we want to tell Max is to repeat these three lines for each of the vertices of the selected object, increasing the index number each step. For this, programming languages have something called the for cycle or for loop. And it looks something like this. For loops allow for repeating a given block of code a number of times. We tell MaxScript a start value to loop from and an end value to loop till. Say, we could tell MaxScript to loop from 1 to 3, which means it would repeat our code 3 times, once for each increment. Now, for loops also have something called the index variable. This index holds the current iteration's value. So if we had a for loop going from 1 to 3, our index variable would hold 1 for the time it's running the script block for the first time, then the index would be 2 when it's running it for the second time, then 3 for the last time. Here's an example of an actual for cycle in MaxScript terminology. For my index equals 1 to 5 do, then comes the script block, and it's only consisting of one line, print my index. I gave the name my index to the index variable of this loop. It's going from 1 to 5, meaning the code in the block will be run 5 times. The print function takes any kind of incoming value and prints it into the MaxScript listener. So if we ran this script in the listener or in Max, it would probably print the numbers from 1 to 5. But let's check this. Coming back to the Max user interface, I'll open up the listener window and open up a new script editor. This is an empty script that we're going to test the for cycle in. So for my index equals 1 to 5, as it was in the example, do, then comes the script block, print my index. Then without saving the file, we don't really need to save it, just evaluate it all. And as you can see, it printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because it ran the print my index command 5 times, increasing the my index variable's value from 1 to 5 all the way. Alright, so I'll just close this, and now that we know the basics of how the for cycle works, let's try to implement it in our script. So we know that this plane object we have has 25 vertices, so we need a for cycle, right? Let's call the index with the really clever name index. So our variable is going to be called index, then it should go from 1 to 25, because we have 25 vertices in the plane, do, and this is